Hey, how are you? I'm Kieran Norton. I'm good, thanks. Thanks for asking. I'm going to talk a little bit about rugby league, a sport which I really like. I'm going to say it's my favorite sport. I mean, I like a lot of sports, AFL, football slash soccer, combat sports. Yeah, I like all, but I dare say this is probably the sport I watch the most. Yeah, rugby league. If you don't know, a lot of people from overseas they think rugby is rugby, but rugby league and rugby union are two different games. Rugby league, I think, is in a really healthy state at the moment. Rugby union is on life support. They're saying that the Wallabies, who's the national team of rugby union, didn't even make it out of the group stages. The Kangaroos, who are the national team for Australia in rugby league, just got smashed 30-0 by New Zealand in the postseason uh, international matches. Something the Pacific Cup or something they played. I don't know. I kind of zoned out after the grand final. Penrith won three in a row. Yeah, three grand finals in a row. Um, but yeah, 30-0 against New Zealand. That's like the worst defeat Australia's ever gotten in the history of rugby league. And I think it's time to move some players on. A lot of people have been saying that. People have been like saying Tiesko and Cherry Evans are too old. Trying to get rid of them. But the selectors are like, no, we got to stay loyal. It'd be disrespectful to get rid of them. Really? Or is it disrespectful to have your team getting smashed by 30-0? Or your origin team losing a series pretty pathetically? Most of the fans and some experts want like Tiesko and Cherry Evans have been good. Cherry Evans actually won Origin. He plays for Queensland, but they've been good players. But I think the time has happened. They're like what Cherry Evans 34, Tiesko's in his 30s, and but they will still get chosen. Like they won't get blamed for this loss. The way rugby league goes, they blame someone like Nico Hines or someone who's on the field for 2 minutes out of position. They'd be like, how dare this halfback who's playing prop, who's on the field for 90 seconds, not score 30 points. We're going to drop him. Don't worry about the others who played 80 minutes and made nothing but mistakes. No, let's not worry about them at all. But that's my little rant about the international game. What we're talking about now is the NRL wants 3 more new teams to take the league up to 20. They had the Dolphins this year. The Dolphins were successful. They were competitive. They got a lot of injuries. They had a mad jersey. And they had a good fan base. So yeah. And it kind of proves that there are enough players. Everyone's like, oh, there's not enough players to support another team. I think there is. I think there's even enough players to support 3 more teams if they do the groundwork properly. There's a lot of like good players in reserve grade not getting the opportunity at the current club. There's a lot of great players in the Pacific Islanders, in the Pacific Islands, and for every like junior who gets signed to a junior like development deal for the clubs, there's always a bunch of talented juniors who miss out, or sometimes like bloomers. Not everyone might hit their peak when they're like 13 or 14 when they get signed to the clubs. Like some players might not become good until like they're 18. So yeah. So Redcliffe Dolphins, can't really call them Redcliffe because of the licensing issues. I think, but Redcliffe, another Queensland team, was in the comp. It was a great choice putting them in this team. They have a history in the Queensland Cup. They have their own stadium. They have their own supporters. So yeah. So the other teams they're talking about is a New Guinea team, because New Guinea's it's the only country in the world where rugby league's the number 1 sport, and they're gonna have the players based in Cairns, which is only like an hour flight from New Guinea. Cairns based in Australia, it'd be a little bit safer. But I think it's still going to be hard to get players to move to Cairns because Cairns is only a small town, and it'd be pretty much impossible to get Australian rugby league players to go to New Guinea. But it'd be good to see New Guinea have a team. I can see the merit. And Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister, is saying, my government will donate money to this club to keep them alive because of the whole trying to protect the Pacific from China and their influence. So if we have rugby league there, support them, give them what they love, they might reject China's buying all the islands and resources. But the thing is, Albanese might not be Prime Minister next election. I'm not making any calls. I'm just talking hypothetically here, and because he might lose the election or he might get stabbed in the back. Because Australian politics, we like necking the leaders when they lose a little bit of popularity. But yeah, so where's the funding going to come from if Albanese's gone and the next Prime Minister doesn't feel the same? I think Liberals will probably do the same. I think Liberals and Labor, they're both on the same page where they're worried about the threat, which is China. But I don't think this will happen. But hypothetically, what if the Greens get in? I don't think the Greens will get in. Not bad mouthing the Greens, just going off previous elections, they never won. And I think they might be less popular now than a couple of years ago. I could be wrong about that. But I'm just saying hypothetically, I don't think they win, but if it was going to be a third party to win, realistically, the election would be the Greens. And the Greens don't care about sport. They won't donate money to this rugby league team. They don't even want an AFL team in Tasmania, which... It's crazy that there's not one there already. There's a marketplace. I think it's going to be one of the most supported clubs. But anyway, that's enough. So I'm going to say my predictions for the 3 new teams. So the first team, there was a lot of buzz about this a couple of years ago, and it's gone quiet. Central Coast Bears. North Sydney Bears used to be a NRL club. Few things happened. They got kicked out of the league, but they still have a loyal fan base who want them back. The Central Coast wants the Bears. The Bears at one point wanted the Central Coast. Now the Bears just want anyone to be back in the NRL, which is fair enough. Central Coast has an awesome stadium. They have an awesome supporters. I mean, a lot of people saying, if you have a new team, you need to put it somewhere where we don't already have a rugby league fan base. We got to extend. That's why AFL did GWS and Gold Coast, which you can argue if that was successful or not. I'm a GWS fan, but I'm a lot of people saying they're dud franchises. Well, I disagree. But anyway, that's again I think I'm talking about AFL when this is a rugby league thing. But the thing is, who cares if we're I reckon there'd be a few people who I reckon most people in the Central Coast will cut ties with whatever team they're going for now and support the Bears. I think the Bears supporters will support the Central Coast because they want their team back. Maybe get them play maybe 1 or 2 games at North Sydney Oval, the original home ground of the North Sydney Bears. And more importantly, who cares about new support? I mean, not who cares. I mean, you want supporters, new supporters. But more importantly, the Central Coast has the second biggest juniors in Australia for rugby league after Pembroke. And look how good Pembroke gone. 3 grand finals in a row. I know the Bulldogs who have moved in and trying to get signed players, but kicked the Bulldogs out. Had the entire Central Coast, the Bears. And I reckon in 10 years or something, they could have a whole team of juniors, kind of like Pembroke is now, and just really competitive. There's all these juniors just aging away, slipping through the gaps, or just quitting football because there's no opportunities to go to, And they're talking about, there's not enough players to support more clubs. Put a club where there's heaps of players. It's simple. So that's my choice. So they want 3 teams. That'd be my choice for the first team. I mean, the club, it's ridiculous they don't have one now. A millionaire or maybe a billionaire, I don't know how much money, but he was willing to pay for the club a couple of years ago out of his own pocket. The NRL wouldn't have to pay anything. It's just, John Singleton, that's his name, the advertising king. He might still be on board. He loves the Central Coast, and he'll probably be all over a freaking team, you know? Anyway, so that's my number one team. That's the team I will put in because it's already, you don't really have to do that much work. The other clubs, to set them up, you would have to do a lot of groundwork. I mean, that's why the Dolphins were so successful. Like, they were already kind of halfway there already. Like, anyway. Second choice, I agree with all the P&G things. Like, I think there's a lot of, like, it's number one sport. They love it. The whole China thing probably be good. But the thing is, like I said, I don't think players would attract very many quality players to Cairns, and definitely not in PNG. So what I am suggesting, and now I know I'm not necessarily a fan of like teams having multiple grounds. I think the Dragons should do it, Wollongong and Kogarah, because Kogarah is such a historical town, and Wollongong, there's not much to do there in terms of sport, and that's where the juniors from. But like the West Tigers should be playing all their games at Campbelltown. None of this full stadiums. Imagine that being a season ticket holder. It's like, ooh, where are we playing today? Wah stadium. Where the hell is that? You know, it's just no. But and this is controversial. So East Brisbane, just call them the Firehawks. So when the Dolphins had a bid, there was another team called the Firehawks, who were based out of East Brisbane. They came close. They had backing. They had a stadium. The stadium's small as well. I like small stadiums. Not like this fantasy of having massive stadiums, and that's what getting the crowds in. Like Cronulla. Cronulla Stadium only holds like 12,000 people or something. And they made it to the finals, and they were able to have a home semi. And the NRL kept sulking, saying, "Oh, it's disgraceful that they're playing at such a small ground. They should be playing at bigger grounds." They had a final. Penrith played a game away from their home ground at a bigger stadium, and hardly anyone turned up. So this fantasy of big stadiums mean bigger crowds, false. So I would have East Brisbane, just call them the Firehawks, because I'm getting to that. Get them to play a couple games at that stadium. Well, maybe half of their home games at that stadium, and the other half in New Guinea. Because I think players would be happy to live in Brisbane or east of Brisbane. It's a growth area. There's a lot of houses going up there. So, yeah. There'd be juniors there as well. There'd be juniors in New Guinea as well. So have them play in Brisbane, based in Brisbane, train in Brisbane. Maybe train a couple of times in New Guinea, so the New Guinea players don't feel so homesick. Play half of our home games in Brisbane, east, at the small stadium, and the rest of our home games in New Guinea. And in New Guinea is a developing country. I know they got like Aussie miners and stuff, they play cashed up. But the locals, I think you got to reduce the ticket prices. The locals won't be able to afford Australian prices for rugby league. I mean, a lot of Australians can't even afford ticket prices for rugby league now. So how are the poor people, no pun intended, like, I mean poor as in like, I don't mean like financially, I just mean like poor people. Anyway, I don't have to explain myself. Yeah, so the people in New Guinea, to give them like, I don't know, whatever they can afford, I don't know, 10 Australian dollars. Like, you make the money back from TV rights anyway. So the Firehawks, based in Brisbane, East, and New Guinea, would be my second team. And the third team, I don't necessarily agree with this one. I think it might be a dud, but all the experts kept going on about it. A Perth team. So Perth had a team 20 or so years ago called the Western Reds. They had a pretty cool... It was daggy, but kind of cool. It was like a red stripe, white stripe, black stripe, a bit of yellow or something. It was a strange thing. And the symbol was the kangaroo. The Western Reds. So they had okay crowds. That's better crowds than some of the teams that survived the cold. Rugby League had too many teams and needed to reduce them. So there's already a rectangle stadium because they got a soccer team there, Perth Glory, and they got a rugby union team there, Western Reds. So there's a stadium built for rugby league. I'd say put it there. I mean, the rugby league keeps saying we need to get new supporter bases. Yeah, put it there. A few people who don't normally watch rugby league might start watching it. Like me, I didn't really watch AFL that much until Greater Western Sydney, GWS, got an AFL team. So yeah, same thing might happen. Again, maybe reduce the ticket prices for a few years just to try to get more bums and seats. And the thing is, Newtown Jets is another beloved club from the past, kind of like the Bears, even though they were kicked out way before the Bears, financial reasons. They still have a big following in the lower grades. I reckon Western Jets. Newtown is in Western Sydney, inner west, but still count class as Western Sydney. So haven't played the Newtown Jets strip. Newtown just a blue shirt. Given the Jets logo, but maybe put West up. Get him to play like 1 or 2 games at Newtown Stadium, Henson Oval in Newtown. And get the Newtown Jets to be their feeder club. It's I reckon that could work. You know, you get some of the Jets fans and you get some of the Perth fans. I think that's the only way it works. And that's be my picks for the 3 teams in the NRL. Ideally, I'd like to, I don't know, if one of the current teams go bankrupt, I don't know, maybe like Cronulla or someone, one of the teams on the red. I would like to have a country team like Mudgee. I think Mudgee is a real growth area. A lot of good players that come from Mudgee and they would return home to play for Mudgee. I think Mudgee, even though it's pretty far away from everything, it's a growing town, and I think all the towns around it will like really get on board for them as well. But anyway, that's not an issue. I think 21 teams probably be too much for rugby league. But anyway, but if someone goes bankrupt, I think Mudgee is a realistic option to look at. That or another New Zealand team, but you don't really want to kill the. You don't really want to split the New Zealand Warriors, the only New Zealand team currently in the NRL club team. And you don't want to split their supporter base in half. Right now they got a good following. They're playing entertaining football, which some of the rugby union fans are noticing. It's like, hey, this is a little bit more exciting than our game. They don't kick every couple minutes. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for watching. That's all I have to say. Please like this video. Please subscribe or follow or whatever. Please comment below your ideas. Thanks for watching. Kieran Doughton. Can I get to 18 minutes? It's a long video. Hey, Kieran Doughton.